Let me go. Are we good here? Awesome. So today I want to talk about
recording in progress.
Really how to make Facebook work for you in the simplest, most straightforward path. Because if you can understand how to utilize Facebook, then growing your business is not very challenging. Now, historically, I like talking about LinkedIn more because it's easier to understand who is the person you are speaking with. However, on Facebook, it is easier to book calls, so you can book a lot more consultation calls with Facebook. It's just, if you don't have some of the stuff I'm going to be talking about today, you're generally not going to give yourself the best and highest likelihood that you're talking to a super qualified buyer, okay? And again, that's because generally the less someone has going for them, the more likely they are to want to hop on a call just to talk about their problems. So we're going to talk a little bit today about how to make sure we're talking to the right people with about 2 to 3 different checks that we're going to do. So the first path we're going to talk about, and I might come back to this path, but I'm going to actually skip it because it is the hardest part, is commenting. So that's learning how to comment on posts inside of different groups that will allow you to be able to get target market people to go. The reason why I'm skipping this because it is the most complicated. There's not going to be a lot of people inside of Facebook groups that are asking questions about accounting or bookkeeping. So for certain niches and for certain industries, that's going to make the most sense. If you're doing QuickBooks training or QuickBooks consulting, right, and you go inside of a QuickBooks group, okay, this is going to make a lot of sense. But if you're not inside of those kind of groups, it's generally going to be a little bit more. If you're inside of the training portal inside of our mentorship program, we have the video about commenting and just breaks it down. So I'm not going to go into huge detail here. I'm assuming that you're watching this from our training portal. Okay. Next thing is going to be, and this is where we're going to place a lot of our attention today, is posting in groups. Okay. So this is drastically different than what most other people do when they talk about posting. I spelled posting wrong, of course. So I learned how to do this because I was invited to do a presentation in my local area, and I did it it's called Spark. So it's basically an incubator for new businesses inside the local community, and they can come learn stuff about business. So me and my partner were able to do a talk about accounting and bookkeeping. So we basically the 10 most basic mistakes people make when it comes to accounting. And then people liked it so much, not only did we get clients from that event, but the host of it actually said, hey, why don't you post this inside of a local Facebook group? So we literally went and took the exact same outline, the recording of the call, and posted inside of a Facebook group. And lo and behold, we not only got a client from that, but we also got a bunch of engagement on social media, and that kind of generated the initial buzz for our small business. Now, the key thing about there is really knowing what to post, how to post, where to post, and to do it, okay? So let's talk about where to post. So a couple of different locations you can think about when it comes to where. So ideally, groups with business owners. You can do local groups. You can do niche related groups. So for the local groups, I don't really like posting quite as much because it's just not, it's not really a place for people to go and learn. Right? Usually it's a place where people just go and promote their business, they drop in their business flyer, and they kind of leave, right? But niche related groups are generally where business owners of a specific niche, let's say for example, credit card repair people, they're going there to interact, to network, to learn things, to ask questions, to get support from other people inside of the field. So it's a very different kind of environment than what a local business group is going to be, right? So we need to take advantage of that as much as possible. So I like local niches. Now I would choose 3 to 4 niches that you know something about, or you have clients in. Okay. Now, a big reason for this is because if you don't know what the different pain points are of the groups and of the niches you're talking to, you're gonna have a very hard time actually posting something that's relevant to them that gets them to want to work with you. That's the biggest challenge you're gonna face inside of the Facebook group. It's just that you do a bunch of posts and like no one responds to them. So ideally, if you already have a client, whatever industry that's in, you would use the same day-to-day problems that you're already like learning and facing with that client, and you would actually do it you would do it with that same group. So let me see if I can come here. Okay, I'm gonna take this from this side, Control C. I'm gonna go and paste that here. Now, let's say there's a couple different types of posts you can do. Okay, so first we're saying like these are the kinds of groups we want to go after. I personally would only go after niche related groups that you would actually like to have as a client. So again, I don't like going after solopreneurs. So I'm not going to go inside of like a local like barbers group, or I'm not going to go inside of like a hairstylist Facebook group. I don't think those are great end clients. If you're trying to get clients that are going to pay you above $500, $1,000, $2,000 a month. If you're just looking for clients like $150, $300, $400 a month, okay, cool. Definitely you can go inside those groups. You're gonna have a lot of people going to reach out to you from those posts. But again, if you're trying to get higher ticket clients, which I think if you're watching this video and you're watching this channel, then you probably want better clients that pay you more, so you don't need a million of them, right? So you have to really be selective in the niches that you choose, right? So if you wouldn't go after them regularly, you shouldn't go after them inside of Facebook groups, because you're just going to get a storm of like more and more of these types of people that are actively the ones that you don't want to talk to. Like I have a student and he was saying inside of his Facebook, he was saying like, oh man, I'm getting a lot of like small guys that kind of come to me. I'm like, well, okay, so what are you posting? Well, I'm posting like landscaper groups. Okay, so first of all, aren't most of the landscapers that are coming to you like generally very small and unorganized? Well, yeah. Okay, so do you think that going after a group that's basically already proven themselves, in your opinion, for your particular methodology, that they're cheaper or that they're just not as quite as established? Like, do you think that if you get more people like that, it's going to produce a better result or a worse result? It's going to get more of the same. It's exactly the point. So you literally just started switching it to being more like construction based, and you already got better clients very, very quickly. Now, this is also why I say 3 to 4 niches, right? So if you're wrong about one of the niches, you can just go to the other 2 or 3 that it's already working, and maybe substitute out the one that's not working for a different niche and just start over to like a different niche. Now, how do we create the post? So let's talk about the different types of posts really quickly, okay? So there's a million different types and different ways you can make posts. The ones that, oops, excuse me, my thing kind of died. The one that I like the best when I'm starting out, okay, so there's value posts. There are 2 steps / question. Okay, a value post is the best post to really get started with, because the more people read of your content, the more they're going to like you. Now, it's also a little bit complicated because you have to know what's the right value to do. So this is like, in my opinion, the best for long-term success. You need to pick good topics. So when I say a good topic, okay, so what used to happen for me was like I would start writing posts and I would get like these very, very, very small business owners to reach out. And like the only thing they would really care about is like, okay, I just want to get things done for tax time. Like they didn't really want to do anything with the information they learned. They didn't really care that much about like being able to have accurate financials. They just wanted to make sure that they're ready for tax time. And I was so confused, like, don't business owners want more than just that? But when I actually started reading my posts, and like I paid for a course for a person to come and like read all my posts and stuff to kind of analyze my business, and the person was like, well dude, all you're talking about is like tax time stuff. Like you're only appealing to people that are very small. maybe you should talk about like the stuff that you really want to talk about, like inventory management. Maybe you should talk about like cash flow management. Maybe how to not have $100,000 in AR when your business only does $100 or $200,000 a year. So if you have 50% AR, like, it's probably not the best thing. You know what I mean? So I was like, oh. So I started switching my topics around like what business owners that are dealing with high level problems are suffering with, so they actually resonate with the posts. And then the cool thing about these posts is that you can really determine who is going to respond based on what the post is actually about. So it's kind of like I call this like dog whistle. So basically, if you ever like maybe own a dog and you have a dog whistle, it's a whistle that you blow inside of it and it makes a sound. Now, for people who are not dogs and we can't hear on like a high enough frequency, humans cannot hear that. So we go on about our daily life even though there's like a loud dog whistle. But then all of a sudden you look around, all the dogs are just kind of like acting weird, right? It's because there's a frequency that only they can hear that humans cannot hear. So the whistle only resonates and only interrupts people that are dogs, that are relevant to that specific frequency. It's the same thing with our copy. If we write good copy that calls out our ideal client, we can only have an interruption with the people that are resonating with it, and all the ones that are either too small or just irrelevant to the topic will go on about their daily life and not even think anything of it. So it's almost like you're choosing the people you want to speak to by just learning how to write about the right topics. Now, some things you can do, like if you already have clients, look at the clients you have. If your clients are all small, there's two things. Are they small in terms of revenue, or did you just underprice them? Those are two different things. One of the students in our mentorship program was kind of talking about this about a week ago, and he was like, I have these clients, but like they're only paying me like $400 a month, and he got that person before like he joined our program. So I said, okay, so is this a client that you had underpriced, but they have the higher level problems where if you did price it correctly, they would be a high value client? Or are they just so small and like, you accurately priced it? Well, they could have paid me a lot more. They probably could have paid me about $400 a month extra than what they actually did. Okay, so then would you be happy if you had a bunch of clients that were like paying $800 a month? He said, yeah, cool. So let's talk based on the problems that these guys are already having, right? So that's all of his posts are just about problems that those clients are already having. And now when the new clients come to him, he just priced them correctly because we give you like pricing tools in our program and stuff. But it's all about understanding who are we talking to and understanding like, is this the right level of communication for the business owners that we are talking to? Now, if you don't have any clients, what should you do? Well, first and foremost, you need to start learning how to talk to business owners, right? So the same things that would get someone on a consultation call is the same thing that you should be writing about. If you've had consultation calls but they just have not closed, I would go take a look at all the different notes you have from your consultation calls. And like, if you don't have consultation call notes, you need to start taking notes when you're talking to these business owners. If you don't have clients, use the clients that don't buy from you as market research into what clients who potentially will buy from you will want and will need. Did I run out of space on this? The card's full on this side. Okay, so I'm always using it as market research. So when I make my post, it's the most relevant to people that are, at the size and at the kind of place that I need them to be in order to buy from me. So use your consultation call notes. Okay, every pain, every problem, every concern they had, you need to be writing that and like put it almost like on a Google document where it's like just a list of different things and different problems you can start thinking about and pulling from, because those are going to be the topics of some of your value posts in the future. Now, if you don't have any clients, you could ask ChatGPT, or you could just skip to question posts, which we'll talk about question posts in a minute. Like, you could ask business owners what are the problems they're struggling with, and they will tell you those. Then you can cherry pick which kind of questions you want to make a post around, okay? But I'm just gonna say like good topics, we're gonna talk about steps and question posts in a second. Cool. So next thing that I want to do is I want to start making for value posts. I love making value posts very, very long. My average value post is anywhere between about 2 to about 4 pages long. Many of you guys have seen them. If you're in my school group, you've seen those long posts that I make. It's just these ones that I make for you guys are more for accountants and bookkeepers to learn something. But at the end of the day, the only thing you really care about is people learning something from you. Okay, it's not really about selling someone inside the group. Most groups that you're going to see online are going to say, hey, you cannot actually go and sell your service inside those groups. But they do want you to add value to their members. So what I like doing is I like making these long posts that get people to really understand that I am a person that can help them out. And it works so well every single time. Like you can easily, okay, so like I had 5 groups that I was posting, and I posted in 8 times across 5 groups. That's about 40 posts total. I made about $50,000 in recurring revenue from those posts. That's clients that keep paying me year over year over year over year, month over month over month over month, right? From a couple of posts, it's 40 posts. Now that might seem like a lot, but again, it was 8 posts in 5 different groups. Just copy and paste the same thing. So it's like, if you can get this stuff correct, and if you can really nail this thing down, you're gonna be able to grow your business very, very quickly, very consistently, very quickly, okay? Now, in terms of value, this can be a little bit challenging because if you're not used to writing a lot, it can be a little bit overwhelming. So generally how you're gonna write a post like this, you're going to do 2 things. So you need to make an outline. Topic, first sentence. You're going to then need to do point 1, point 2, point 3. Okay, what is the point? How did you learn it? What does it do for that reader? What are the steps involved? Why is it? Okay. Why is it important / what does it do for the reader? Super critical. And then what are the steps involved? Now, this framework right here is so important because you can do this for point number 1. You can do this thing for sub point 1, sub point 2. It's amazing. It just allows you to keep expanding on the same thing over and over and over again to go deeper and deeper and deeper and deeper to the point to where someone just fully feels like you know exactly what you're talking about. I mean, think about it. So what's the point? That's 1 paragraph. How'd you learn? That's another paragraph. Why is it important to read? That's another paragraph. What are the steps involved? Each step is probably a paragraph in itself. So it's very, very, very easy for you to be able to go and get 2, 3, 4 pages. Now, also keep in mind, these are double spaced pages. It's not like you're having like every single thing there. It's always double spaced because you want to make sure that it's not too blocky, right? You want to have a lot of space inside of it so it's easier to read. Now, inside the program, like if you're in our program, I can generally go and look at your posts and talk, okay, so this is what I would do differently. This is how I'd make it a little bit better. This is what we should be doing to go and add more and more value. It's just not quite deep enough. You want these posts to be very, very deep. You want to feel like, oh my gosh, this is too long. No one's going to read it. The reason why is because the only people that are going to read are people that actually want to solve the problem and actually care about the things that you're talking about. It's so funny, right? Everyone wants to like try and get as many people as possible to read something or to watch something. Whereas people that are actually really good, they just try and focus on one person getting so much out of it that they are compelled to pull out their credit card and give you money. That's the difference between someone that's advanced and someone that's like, you know, beginner. Advanced people, I just want one person. Like you might make your videos for one person. You might make your posts for one person. You might make everything is for one person. Because if you can change one person's life, not only will they start working with you for like 6, 7 years, but they will refer people to you. Now, you might be asking, Bryce, what if I make a really great post, but I get nothing out of it? No one wants to work with me. No one buys from me. No one leaves a like or a comment. Or I get a bunch of people liking and commenting, but no one buys from me. It's like, that's okay. You gotta expand your time horizon past a 1 week time horizon. Like if you're gonna be posting in groups, like this is the thing that creates like a solid business career. It adds longevity to your ability to go and make money because you're providing goodwill into the market. Now, goodwill is the difference between how much money you extract from the market and how much value you put into the market. So you always want to have more value put inside of the market than what you have pulled out. So let's say I put in 5 units of value, I'm going to pull out 1 to 2 units, right? And every single time that I do something, I want to just keep doing that back and forth and back and forth. And pretty soon I start putting in 10 pieces of value and I still only pull out 2. Then I put out 20 pieces of value and I still pull out 2. And it's the sum of all the value that's in there that I have not pulled out that is my future bank account. And it actually provides you the ability to keep having the business in the future. That's why it's like sometimes like you'll see our students where it's like they'll get like 5 or 7 clients in the same week. It's because they have been prepping their value and putting in the value into the market so that when they want to go and make extra cash, or when they have a trip coming up, or when they want to go and like just increase their income, they're able to then extract that value when they want. It's almost like creating a wait list. So sometimes you might hear me talk about like one way we help our students not get overwhelmed is by learning how to create a wait list. This is a built-in wait list that you can do because the people are going to automatically be waiting and ready to buy from you as long as you're keeping them engaged with great posts and great topics. So it's okay like if you post something and you don't get a client right away. It's okay. If it was a good post, people saw it. Like people see these. They read them. Like the right people, if you do it correctly, will see these. They will buy from you eventually. Like I've had people that have like I made like a value post. I had someone with like a $4 million a year firm see the post, reach out to me, and then want to do our mentorship program. My accounting firm is not $4 million per year, but the fact that the value post was so good and the guy wanted to work with us, it didn't even matter. Your value posts are showing that you know something that someone else might not know or might not know as well as you. And again, you just have this halo effect because if you're good at one thing, people assume you're good at everything. Also, if you don't know that much about what you're speaking about, you could always go to ChatGPT. ChatGPT. Okay, let me show you real quick. Oops, I'm gonna share this. I'm gonna share my screen. Hey, do you know things about accounting and bookkeeping where if I wanted help making a long paper, you could help me write it? Cool. So like literally, remember how I talked about on that last drawing a couple minutes ago with the, let me see, oops. Okay, so you remember these different subpoints we talked about just then? Literally all you would need to do is you just have your outline, Control C. You would paste inside of your, assume it doesn't say first sentence, assume like you guys would put a first sentence. How to get more of your accounts lower points to, I don't know why it's very hard to kind of navigate this thing. The screen's too small. So point 2, have a designated person overlooking your. We'll just have it kind of go from there. That's like this, blah, 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 blah. This point transition, this thing. Look at this. Boom. Boom. Okay, cool. So now this is your second draft. So draft number 1 was your outline. This is draft number 2. Then all you need to do is just go inside and add in like the stories and the human element. So right now this is like very factual. You need to go make it your own by talking about different aspects of your life and what you've learned from doing this stuff. Okay? And then you literally can just go and post inside of a group. Now, that's how I'd be thinking about these different like long posts. Okay? Another type of post that you can be doing is, actually, let's even take the step further. Once you have a bunch of long posts, what you can do, let me see, super doc. I want you to store these inside. I want you to store them inside of, we'll say, like a super doc. So this document is about 297 pages long. It's all the different well, not all of, but a lot of different value posts that I've made over the last probably like year and a half. All of them, right? And what you can do from there is you can literally go and tell ChatGPT, hey, make a paper on this topic using only the words and phrases that are in this super doc. So you can use the same ideas and have ChatGPT make something new based on that, because those are your core ideas and the core way you see the business, right? So it makes it easier and faster every single time that you make a document, because you can feed that new document into the old document and feed and then put it back. Create, feed, create, feed. Now you're making even better documents over time. It's just like this flywheel. It gets better and better and better and better and better. And then on top of that, let's say that you've booked a call. You could actually send the super document to the business owners almost as a mini course or like a white paper. Now in some cases it might be a lot, so make sure you put inside your super post how to actually consume this thing and make sure it's actually organized in a really organized fashion so it does not get too overwhelming for you. Now, or too overwhelming for them to read. And like just make sure you write inside like, hey, it's not meant for you to read the whole thing. It's just more of a gift. Right? If someone receives a 297 page document of something, they are going to value that significantly more than if it's like this just like, you know, little PDF thing that you give people. And it builds so much more credibility by the time you get on the phone with you. Okay, the next time post is going to be, let me stop my share real quick and get back to the whiteboard. Question posts. So when I think of question posts, there are two types of question posts I like to think about. There are direct and indirect. Direct. Do you want some help? Basically straight selling. Indirect. Do you want some value? Okay, so for sales driven question posts, direct or indirect. Direct is basically like, hey, I'm looking for a couple clients. Who wants to work with me? Now these generally do not work in most Facebook groups because most Facebook groups do not allow you to overtly sell like that. Indirect questions are more like, hey, I just made this new 297 page guide. Does anyone want it? Or hey, I just made this new value post. Does anyone want to read it? And you get people basically raise their hand and say they want to read the guide or the value or whatever. Now, these posts are better done on your own profile right? Because there's no real rules against that. Except for like Facebook might have like some different rules, but you're not gonna get kicked out of a group if you post them on your Facebook wall. Now, if you have your own group, or if you have a deal with the admin where they will let you post whatever you want, oh, you can make these sales-driven posts all day. Super simple. Add some value, maybe do 2 value posts and do a direct sales piece, or 2 value posts and an indirect sales piece, right? Remember, the question posts basically extract the value out of the group, very simply. Very simply. Now, market research. These are actually really cool because you can ask as many of these as you want, and oftentimes both the admins and the people inside the group do not see it as you trying to sell something. So you can literally ask questions like, what was it like the first time you cracked $1 million in a year in your business? What was it like when you hired your 10th employee? Was it nervous when you thought about selling your business? What was it like trying to go after your first round of funding? Right? So the questions you ask, very similar to the post that you're going to be making for your value post. The type of questions you ask will draw out the type of clients that you want as well. So if you're asking like, hey, what's making you want to start your business? That's generally someone who hasn't started a business yet. Versus the questions I asked earlier, like, what's been the hardest part about managing inventory? What's been the hardest part about ordering the right amount of inventory for Black Friday? Those are going to be someone that's very, very, very sophisticated and maybe is still dealing with those problems that are higher level problems. So when you ask those questions, only people that will respond to are people that are relevant to that. Or they'll tell you, I don't know, or I haven't made it there yet, or I'm still learning there. And based on that, you can choose who you want to interact with from there. Super simple. So with those 2 posts, you should be able to go and get a very solid stream of clients. Like you should be able to go and get 2 to 5 consultation calls per week. Like one of our students, Nick, he basically got 5 consultation calls last week from like posting like in 2 different groups. And like these are not like basic like business owners. These are pretty sophisticated business owners, right? So it's like if you can put this stuff to good use, and we're gonna go a little bit deeper in probably the next video on like what to do with them, maybe how to create them. Maybe I might even include our coaching call that we did with him where we helped him actually go and make some posts. It makes things a lot easier, okay? So hopefully you enjoy this video, hopefully you learn something new. Love to see you inside the next one.